Let's settle in. Oh my goodness, it's Friday. And have to say I'm happy to be here. And all day today, I've had the word melting in my mind. And I used it as I put out a couple messages on social media to invite you to come and relax with me this evening. So melting, yoga, it's about alchemy, transformation, right? Lead, we might be feeling kind of stiff, right? Lead, when heated and treated, it turns to gold. So let's take these lead feelings that we may have brought onto the mat with us tonight. May we breathe deeply and move slowly and mindfully so that we can feel that alchemy of transformation. Because yoga really does. Every time you get on the mat, man, I've been doing this for 24 years. And every time I get on the mat, it's an opportunity to get up later feeling just a little bit transformed. So may we transform together this evening. So sit up nice and tall, and let's take a twist to the right. Breathe in nice and deep. Soften your shoulders down away from your ears. I'm rarely still within a pose. Sometimes, but that little bit of movement allows you to melt a little deeper into the pose, a little deeper into your breath. The twist is really happening through your diaphragm, rib cage, chest, and shoulder space. And let's take our twist to the left. Sit up tall and revolve around that tall, right? Breathe deep. And let's shift our twist to the right again. Noticing any tension in the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down, put them down on your back. And may we revolve to the left again. And we face forward, and let's clasp our hands behind our head, the little headrest. And so we don't want to tug, it's a rest, really. And then visualize in your mind how windshield wipers on your car are working, right? So your back is smoothly, right, cleaning the windshield as if it were behind you. Moving into these side bending actions, and a little banana shape through the side body. And arms melt back down to the ground, shoulders melt away from your ears. And let's start to swirl the spine in a circle, so to speak, right? A little whirl, a slow whirl around. But your base is very grounded, steady as you roll through the trunk of your body. Make sure you're breathing and moving. And let's smoothly shift the circle the other way. Notice any releasing of tension that's happening. That's the good stuff. And back to center. And then let's come on to hands and knees. Right, a tabletop position. I'm gonna turn sideways and then I'll come back and meet you in this position. So we exhale into our cat, a rainbow shape in the spine, really, an arc. And then we draw that arc the other direction. Cow pose. Exhaling into our cat and inhaling into cow. As you're moving and breathing, again, melting through any of the tense, the lead places that came to class with you tonight. And we'll turn our toes under, 10 toes turn under. Maybe you lean back a little into the toes and heels and you'll start to feel that stretch in your feet. Honor your body, right? Dial it into the place that feels good. And downward facing dog. Bending our knees so that we're placing most of the straightening through our spine and arms. Breathe deeply, right? Steady. Your front paws are tractioning downward and forward as your tail is climbing high up towards the angle of the room behind you, right? The angle of the wall and ceiling. And then we'll slowly bring ourselves back into child's pose. May you take 3 deeply filling breaths in your child's pose. Right, filling your belly, your rib cage, even your chest. Tune in and notice if there's a little round happening in the upper back, mid back space, right, behind the shoulders. And if it does feel very rounded, just lift your forehead, your heart, launch the heart forward, right? Lengthen, and the heart will feel heavy, as will the center of your forehead. One more deeply filling breath. Knees to the ground, and let's meet back on our bottom, feet come together, right? The soles of our feet, right, imprint into one another. And we come into our sitting butterfly pose, right? Seated bound angle. And to bind means that you're connecting to something, right? My hands could bind my legs. Elbows could bind. Your hands can bind someplace comfortably. It doesn't have to be your feet, right? Notice how I've got my shin bones. So you're folding forward from your hip hinge, and may it feel good. Anchor your tail back behind you as you again fold forward gently. Notice I have a little rock side to side. That's, shall I say, coaxing me sweetly into the pose rather than straining for it, right? Melting. Last piece, just a little softening of your head. I like to call it bowing inward. And let's do that. Bow inward for 3 more deep breaths. Noticing any more melting that might be happening. And after the 3rd breath, we rise. So let's keep our left leg bent and send the right leg forward. Folding again our head of the knee pose, Janu Shirshasana. Now I shall sit up and change sides. Right. Left leg forward, right leg at an angle, and we fold. Head to knee pose, Janu Shirshasana. All right, we rise again. Both legs forward, shift around through your base, shift around through your pelvis, right, through your hips to sit a little taller. And now let's widen the legs. All right, widen comfortably, straddle outward. It doesn't have to be drastic. May it feel even, right, a sense of equilibrium in how you're stretching out through both legs. How your right and left sides of the spine are aligning. And we fold and we breathe, right? May we melt. And I'm kind of doing that flicker, that motion side to side, adding the little side bending action that we warmed up with windshield wipers. And now let's take that movement, reaching over to the right leg. Notice how I'm using my fingertips for support. They could do that anywhere, or hands on ground. What allows you to feel steady with ease? And now we're going to walk, like I'll walk my hands across the mat. To fold over the left leg, gently. Without strain, we find the stretch. And let's guide ourselves back over, bowing over the right leg one more time, sealing your base to the ground, right? That's a significant action, that anchoring. And walking across the mat, taking your bow over your left leg. And we rise. Let's sit up nice and tall. Let's spin back and come in for another wave of those poses, right? Exhale into your cat. Inhale into your cow. Think of it as one breath, one smooth movement. One more round. And turn your 10 toes under, get the toe and foot stretch activated. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So may we be here for 3 deep breaths to feel the transformation. If you feel very heavy in your hands and wrists, engage more of your core to lift you to more buoyancy in the hands and wrists. And your tail again will rise up towards the high corner of the room behind you. Just think of how, a lot of us have dogs. Mine's in the other room, so we won't distract us. But when they stretch, their hind end is very bendy and agile, but their front end, their arm, their paws, their front legs, their spine gets very, very long up to the tip of the tail. Can you embody that action? Because yoga really is. The poses are about creating shapes and taking different forms throughout the practice. It's pretty amazing, connecting to the surroundings. And of course, connecting to one another. So now you can stop doing downward dog and knees to ground, child's pose. May we breathe deeply. And we rise again. Let's have a seat. Come back for your butterfly smoothly, right? 2 angles. Folding forward, taking hold or not. What's comfortable? I believe it was a few nights ago, I taught this same action, the bound angle, but with open arms, and we called it the manta ray pose, right? Just think of how the manta ray spreads its wings and glides very smoothly through the water. And we rise again. Let's keep our left leg angled and send right leg forward. Shift around through your base to define your hip hinge. Four-headed knee pose, Janu Shirshasana. And there's a real spectrum of where you can place your hands. Right here to find hip hinge. You could feel a lot of stretch, a little deeper. Right. What feels good to you, right? There, again, a spectrum of flexion and extension. Slowly release and change sides. And I think I said earlier, remember, 24 years of practice is a long time. That's why some days I can maybe touch my head spiny. This pose is so much better when we don't strain to get it, when we breathe and we melt with it. Slowly we rise. And now we've been flexed forward, so let's do a counter pose to that. Hands to ground, right? Jazz hands, big hands, handprints, your hasta bandha, your hand lock. Chest expansion, right? Another key action. Feet on ground, your pada bandha, your foot lock, steady. Tabletop, right? Up facing table pose. Steady. Leaning the head back comfortably as to allow your neck and throat space to lengthen. Right? It shouldn't feel stressful to lay your head back. Find the good spot. One more deep breath. And we have a seat. While I'm here, little boat pose. So we lift the legs, lower legs paralleling the ground, arms paralleling. And notice if your boat's getting a little leaky. Right, float the boat. Your heart is like your personal flotation device. It's going to be buoyant. 2 more deep breaths. And then come back to sitting comfortably cross-legged, right? Sukhasana, an easy seated pose. Centering. Checking in with your breath again. Noticing the transformations that are taking place. The releasing of tension. The deepening of your breath. The ease of your movement, right? Notice how I'm moving. I told you I'm rarely still within the asana because there's life there. There's always a flicker of energy happening. It's amazing. So even when you do come to that centered still position, there still can be a small, subtle sway, right? Tapping into your energetic potential. That said, let's lie back on the ground. I'm gonna flip around. Legs up, right? Now I'm gonna take right leg to the ground, reach up towards the left. Maybe you get a little hug in there happening. What feels good? Single leg stretch. And let's change sides. One more time. And last time, last change. And legs up again. Arms can go out or at your sides, along your sides, what feels best. And let's just use our legs like a pendulum, little tick-tock. And you can feel your back pockets skimming the ground as you smoothly shift side to side. Now let's start to circle legs one direction. And now change circle direction. One more circle. And then let your feet, knees bend and feet on the ground, bridge pose, right? This has been part of our practice. Standing back through shoulders and arm backs and lifting your pelvic space, raising upward through the pelvic space, your front pockets, your belly. Notice if your chin is punching upward towards the sky. Draw it in gently to the chest and stand back a little more profoundly through your shoulders and arms. Bridge pose in Sanskrit is called Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. And Sarvangasana means shoulder stand. So it's like you're beginning your entry-level shoulder stand. All right, bridges come down, bottom on the ground. And let's hug our knees to our chest. Give a little rock side to side. Hand back to center, feet to ground. Taking your right leg, figure four cross, right? Figure four cross the left. Lifting left leg and hugging. You can hug hamstring or shin bone. What feels better? Our reclining pigeon pose. Two more deep breaths. May they be deeply filling and actively emptying. All right, let's change sides. Right, left leg, figure four cross, and we lift the right. You can feel the stretch, right? Warming, igniting through your left I mentioned earlier, the back pocket space. 2 more deep breaths in your reclining pigeon. And stay back, lying on your back. And we're going to go into some twists here. So your feet come back down to the ground like bridge. But you have options here. Your feet can stay grounded and you can twist to the right. You can lift your legs and twist to the right. What's more comfortable? Allow your legs to be heavy, right? And just melt along and across the mat as you breathe. And lifting and shifting legs to your left, right? Choosing your twist, whether the legs are grounded or lifted to shift and twist. Allow your legs to be heavy on the left side of your mat and spread your arms out. Your chest and shoulders expand across the mat and floor as well. Fill up all that space with your breath, right? Expand. It's a great feeling. And back to center. Hug both knees to chest, please. Okay. And you can choose to stay here if it feels really good. Or if you want to explore, you can curl up into, like a little ball. Think of how the nautilus shell, just that pattern rolls and spirals. Think of your body in this moment as that endless circle. And as you breathe, you can hear that reflection, that echo of your breath back to you. Check in with your breath. And you're in a deep contraction, deeply flexed. Now relax. Let your feet float back down to the ground. And in fact, this time, as you lie back, lengthen your legs. It's not quite our ending pose yet, but just dissipating all that energy. You went from the nautilus, balling in action, and now you're back to expanding and using the floor to align your body, to really steer yourself into a better sense of equilibrium. Now, I notice sometimes this is a big ask sometimes for students, but you have nothing left to lose except your tension. So take a deep inhale. Exhale. Like a big sigh from your body. And just do that a few times. And, don't be afraid to just really get into the breath sound, to allow it to escape. And now roll up into the nautilus ball again. Right. And release. And bridge pose. I'm clasping my hands currently because that feels good. Binding my hands together helps me plant my shoulders back just a little deeper. Now go ahead and release your bridge, bring your bottom back down to the ground. And extend your legs and just lay your body out again, expand. Explore that action of expansion again. Beautiful. Okay, just remember, friends, I warned you we weren't finished. We weren't finished yet. There's another really wonderful way to melt. So we are on our backs right now. Let's come on to our fronts and we're gonna lay down on our belly and our elbows in a Sphinx pose. Settling in, notice if your shoulders got rounded. Spread broad and across shoulders, expand across chest. Evenly press down through your elbows, right? This is called forearm balance that you're establishing when elbows do press down. I'm gonna shift a little again to the right. I lift the elbow up, shift to the left, lift the elbow up. Coming into that side bending action, think of the windshield wiper action that we unpacked earlier. One more round to the right. You can feel that stretch blooming all the way down into your hips. Back to center. Well done. Now, let's bend right leg. Right, notice my right leg came up. And right hand comes back to clasp. Head melts onto forearm. I'm using my left forearm like a little pillow for the forehead. Allow your right thigh, your hips to be heavy, right? Melting down into the mat as we breathe. Notice if the right shoulder's starting to feel a little stagnant, put a little movement in that space. Now let's change sides. Let's move it over. Left leg bends, left hand catches. The right arm is our forearm pillow. Two more deep breaths, friends. And release and come back to Sphinx. And this should be fun. I hope you have a little room to stretch out around you. We'll see how I fare here. Hope I don't knock over any candles, but I know it's gonna feel really good. So we're gonna use what we've unpacked. Here we are in Sphinx. We bend both knees, toes to the sky, and give a little movement, right? We unpack the movement. I lift my hip, a little rock and a little roll. Right, I got more room on this side. Open up, allow your body to move, shall I say, blissfully. Did you hear that, Gordon and family? Blissfully. And one more round. And we meet back in center. May we push up and take our child's pose again. Now from child's pose, we can move very smoothly into thread the needle. This is one of my favorite poses. I like to share favorites with you. Thread the needle, definitely one of my favorites. So from child's pose, I'll reach my right arm under my left, balancing on the outer right shoulder and right side of the temple. You can keep your left arm bent and hand print helps you steady. Or you can reach your arm forward. Which variation of arms felt the best for you? Breathe. And then tap into your center of chest, right? Your heart's spinning up inside the ribcage space in the moment. Well done. Now translate your thread the needle, right? Unthread and rethread on the left side. And we change again, right? Maybe this is the first time that you've tried this, so let's give it another go, right? Onto the right outer shoulder, threading the needle. May you feel well balanced, right? Steady with ease. And change sides. Right? Taking that stretch to the other side just one more time. And coming out of thread the needle. And let's finish our evening still on the belly, just unfurling your body along the mat. Taking your elbows, bending, giving yourself that forearm stack, little pillow. Rest your forehead. It's called resting crocodile pose. Rest your hips evenly heavy. Rest your legs evenly heavy. You could stay here, resting the crocodile, which is awesome. I mean, you could drift away, melt, right? Or if you want to try this with me, it's a little deeper, okay? Please honor your body, right? We're going for stretch, not so much strain, okay? Bending legs, both of them. Reaching back, and let's put our heart and forehead on the ground. And then we lift our heart, our face, and then our feet into our bow pose, Dhanurasana. And there can be a little movement, right, as you're breathing. One more big, beautiful, bright, deep breath. And release. Let's come back, right? Meeting, resting crocodile. And just check in. Give your hips a little wiggle. Give your shoulders a little wiggle, a little shimmy. And then just let your body melt along and across your mat. right? Your attention is on the filling and the emptying of your breath, right? May each phase finish. And now with, instead of like the fish on the dock flopping out of water, let's not do that. Let's smoothly roll onto our backs and re-establish our sense of expansion along and across the floor. This really is